Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everybody. What a nice group. Very good. Come on, that's what we like. Let me grab that for you.
Oh, thank you.
That chair is very, very, very heavy.
Thank
Well, thank you all for being here. I had a lot of good discussions this morning. I'm negotiating a lot of contracts that are saving billions and billions of dollars for the American people and for all of us, and I'm very proud of it. You know, the A-35 fighter jet, the Air Force One program, which was totally out of control, and now it's back very much in control, and many other things. In addition, I had a very good phone call this morning about a major plant that's moving back into the United States. We'll be talking about it soon. And what I do have is a little free time at about 12 o'clock. So I don't think the press will want to show up, but I think I'll have a press conference probably at 12 o'clock in the East Room. We had a little time in between things. So if the press would like to show up, will anybody show up to that press conference?
Oh, yeah, look at
that. Historically, they didn't care about these things. For me, they show up. So I think 12 o'clock in the East Room of the White House, we'll have a press conference. I just want to thank you folks for coming today. This was great. This was scheduled a long time ago. Some of my very, very early supporters, and I've been your supporter also. We're doing really well. The fake news media doesn't like talking about the economy. I never see anything about the stock market. Sets new records every day, Chris. I never see that. But I think the people understand it. We're giving a speech in Melbourne, Florida, on Saturday. I think it's going to be around 4 o'clock, and I hear the tickets, you can't get them, but that's okay. That's better than you have too many, right? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be great. I look forward to that. So that'll be Melbourne at 4 o'clock. I really appreciate you folks. You folks have been so great, and right from the beginning, and Tom, right at the beginning, just about every one of you right at the beginning. Some were a little after the beginning, but we forgive. Let's go around just for the media, and you'll introduce yourselves, and then we'll start talking, and I'll see the media back at 12 o'clock. Chris?
Well, Mr. President, we're all honored to be here. This is really our Trump caucus reconvening for the first time in a little bit, but our first meeting was the first part of March. Duncan Hunter and I both endorsed you on February 24th, a week from tomorrow. So it's the one-year anniversary, but this is the Trump caucus reconvening, and we're just so honored you're taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us.
Well, these are real friends.
Western New York.
Thank you. That's right.
Hey, Duncan Hunter, Mr. President.
And I didn't see you back there.
Very good to see you, sir.
Okay.
From San Diego, California.
Kevin Kramer from North Dakota. Bill Schuster, Western Pennsylvania, and Chairman of the Transportation Committee.
That's right.
So looking forward to
I'm going to give you some money for transportation. That's good. Blue Boy, Hazleton, Pennsylvania. Absolutely. Good territory.
Mr. President, Tom Reed, it's a pleasure to travel with you to Florida.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
President Tom Moran from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, and please indulge me 30 seconds. I have something for you.
Something for you to sign. I think he means
I think this is great.
Beware members of
It's a
Congress.
portrait by an engineer, a gentleman, Joe Papalina, who, 60-some years old, never voted, never registered. He registered for you and voted for you.
Wow.
And he asked me to give this to you. There's a nice letter there. I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, but that's that. I'll set this over here.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
He's quite a
He's a talented guy. I can see that.
names in there. And then I have
Nice.
the chairman and CEO of Little League World Series Baseball,
That's
Steve
good.
Keener.
Right.
And Mr. Vice President, I kind of figured that you would be here as well. So this is from the New York team last year that was in the World Series.
Good.
That's for you. And this is a jersey, an original jersey of the New York team in the World Series last year, and this is for you as well.
Well, thank you very much. Thank them for me.
I will do that.
Okay, thank them for me. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Rick, we know who you are.
Scott Desjardins from Tennessee, and I just want you to know that Tennessee is fully behind you. March will attest to that. We're excited about the work you're doing. We know that health care and tax reform has to be done this year, and we like the work you're doing, and we need you to help us continue to do it.
We're going to get it done. And the healthcare is going really well. And now that we finally have Tom Price, Dr. Tom Price, that was a big thing. I mean, we couldn't get him. We are going to be announcing, I guess I'll do it at 12 o'clock, a new Secretary of Labor who is really phenomenal. So that'll be at 12 o'clock. And we're getting, I mean, this is the slowest in history, the approval of a cabinet. And these people are outstanding people. The man I'll be announcing for Labor is a star, great person. A great person. And so I look forward to that. But I appreciate everything you've done. You've been fantastic. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. President, good to see you, Mike Kelly.
I know, Mike.
From right above Pittsburgh up to Erie. Thanks so much. What an exciting summer we had together.
We did okay there, didn't we?
We did better than okay.
We took an area that wasn't a big Republican area, and we swamped them, right?
We did. 34 years since Erie actually voted for a Republican.
Wow.
Thanks to you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Billy Long, Missouri 7, and I'm co-chair of the Congressional Study Group on Japan. I'm going to be leading the delegation to Japan Saturday, meeting with Prime Minister Abe on Monday.
He's a great guy.
So if you will tell me how many golf balls he lost in Florida, I don't know how many House of Representatives golf balls to take.
He played well, I'll tell you. And you know, we played with Ernie Els. I called up Billy, I said, see if you can get me somebody good to play with. I have the Prime Minister of Japan wants to play golf. So we get to the front of the club, and Ernie Els is waiting for us. He said, are you ready? So we had a good time. No, he played very nicely, and he's a great guy. You're going to like him. I like him.
Oh, yeah, I've met him the last 3 or 4 years, met with him there. He's a great guy, and I knew you all would hit it off because you're both persons and great
we hit it off.
personalities.
We had a good feeling.
Both ends, so I knew you guys would get along good.
Well, I always said about President Obama, it's great to play golf, but play golf with heads of countries. And by the way, people like yourself, when you're looking for votes, don't play with your friends that you play with every week. That doesn't help. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I hit it off with the Prime Minister. He's a fabulous guy. He's loves his country. And we spoke all day long and well into the night. They, as you know, they launched a missile, North Korea, and we were discussing that. So it was really something. But have a good time over there.
I will.
And give him my regards.
Ambassador Sasai was in my district for 2 full days, and he mentioned he was with you down there in Florida
Right.
also.
He was.
He's another great guy. He and his wife both. And one last quick thing, Fran Drescher
Right.
from The Nanny
Right.
said you were on The Nanny one time. She has a request with her battle for cancer that you have a cancer board that has one non-medical person, so she wanted me to put her name in the hat for that. My daughter came through a successful cancer battle.
Yeah. You know what, if you would, Billy, why don't you give me that request and let's see if we can do that.
We will.
Okay?
I'll get it to your people. Thank you.
Marcia?
Yes, I'm Marcia Blackburn from Tennessee. I chair the Telecommunications and Technology Subcommittee at Energy and Commerce, and we are looking forward to broadband expansion.
Okay, well,
Rural broadband.
You're going to get it.
Yes.
You're going to get it. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I'll see you at 12 o'clock if you want. You don't want that. You don't show up, I won't be in.
Can I get to those leakers, Mr. President?
We're going to find the leakers. We're going to find the leakers. They're going to pay a big price for leaking.
Wow, and there you have it. Donald Trump, President Trump, meeting with some of his original supporters from Capitol Hill as he kind of went around the horn and let them all present gifts or have their piece or have their say.
Well, again, you're presuming that all the information you have there is completely factual and who knew what when. And this is very fluid. I mean, the bottom line is that as time wore on, as everybody continued in their roles, it became increasingly apparent, particularly over the weekend when General Flynn clarified his own earlier statement, George, a statement that he had provided to the vice president and that other members of the administration, frankly, went out and publicly repeated, which is that he had not discussed a certain topic in his conversations with the Russian ambassador. And so when General Flynn clarified those comments that it's possible and he could not recall, that accelerated matters in a way that was different. And that's where we are today.
It is a fact that the Justice Department did tell the White House counsel, Don McGahn, information almost 3 weeks ago. Final question. You said late yesterday afternoon that the president had full confidence in General Flynn. How could that be true?
Now, the president's very loyal. It just became unsustainable, and the president late last night accepted the resignation of General Flynn. Today, he's moving on. It just became clear that we'll need to have acting National Security Advisor General Keith Kellogg in the role. He's been working very closely with the president for a number of months, and then of course we've been talking about former Navy SEAL and Vice Admiral Harward and David Petraeus as well, General Petraeus, as possible permanent replacements.
Kellyanne Conway, thanks very much.
Thanks, George.
And it's pretty clear from that these questions to the White House just beginning.
Why can't these questions be answered?
That is one of the biggest questions right there. Why does the president have Kellyanne Conway ask to have Kellyanne Conway come on our program today if she can't answer the simple yes or no questions about what happened with General Flynn?
Sort of new promise to perform better or do things differently that preserves their particular position. But all indications are that the National Security Advisor, Mike Flynn, has antagonized key Trump White House officials to the degree that, given numerous opportunities today and over the weekend to offer his own vote of confidence for his National Security Advisor, President Trump has declined to do so. And the brief moment this afternoon when Kellyanne Conway, a counselor of the president, said General Flynn had the full confidence of the president, within less than an hour, the White House completely undercut Conway's statement, obliterating it and questioning her own credibility by saying the president was evaluating Flynn's future. This is after Flynn spent the entire weekend with President Trump at the Winter White House in Mar-a-Lago and had several phone conversations with Vice President Mike Pence. I'm led to believe he attempted to apologize in those conversations, but those attempts did not satisfy Pence. And importantly, they did not satisfy the White House Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus. Those are some of the White House officials very skeptical about the necessity and the usefulness of keeping Flynn in this White House and on this team. For the moment, he is still on the team and still in the White House. But his future appears not murky, Elaine, but very tenuous indeed.
Meantime, Major, there are reports that things are extremely tense among members of the National Security Council itself. What do you make of that?
Well, the Security Council is not fully staffed, and that's one problem. There just aren't enough people inside the White House assigned to the National Security Council with enough deputies to carry out the workflow, provide the memos, and handle what's known as the interagency process. One of the chief obligations, if not the most important obligation, of the National Security Advisor and everyone who works on the National Security Council staff is to be the White House interagency general, if you will, the one in charge of keeping in touch with the State Department, the CIA, the Pentagon, and other aspects of the American foreign policy network, and work all of their issues simultaneously. Well, if you don't have enough people to do that, things break down. And Flynn's own leadership of the few people he does have rubbed some people in the White House the wrong way. Communication hasn't always been good, and allegiances have been strained. These are kind of workmanlike issues that typically don't get discussed in a time like this, because usually a team that comes in from an election has a general sense of how to, A, staff a National Security Council, and B, make it function, if not at top speed, at something approximating top speed. But this goes back, Elaine, to a problem that existed from the transition efforts during the campaign and the transition efforts after President Trump won the election. They were not as thorough and they were not as widespread as they could have been. The transition efforts in the latter stages of the campaign were essentially halted at Mr. Trump's direction, and then they were put together and refocused very rapidly and somewhat unexpectedly after his Election Day victory. The transition itself was rough, and some of the consequences of that understaffed and rough transition, carried out by a lot of people who did not